sir, I personally like Rush Limbaugh. That editorial was written by someone on our staff. That's right, she's my wife. No, I cannot control her. You're not married, are you? Look, I'm sorry, I got another call. Georgia's apparently inflamed half of the town with her Rush Limbaugh editorial.
Boy, these people are really mad. Who is this Rush Limbaugh person?
You never heard of Rush Limbaugh?
I've heard of the limbo.
Well, you see, Limbaugh is French for limbo. Rush's family invented it. They're very wealthy people. Matter of fact, I think they get a quarter every time somebody dips on that little stick.
Oh, well, I'm gonna make some more coffee.
You know, if being dumb were a disease, that poor girl would be on life support all the time.
I cannot believe that Georgie would write an editorial about Rush Limbaugh the same week he's coming into town on his book tour.
Well, I, for one, thought it was a great piece. It's not Georgie's fault she has to live and work in a place filled with Rush Limbaugh's bootlicking moonies.
Excuse me, but I believe they're called ditto heads. And just for the record, I am one. I happen to like Rush Limbaugh. He's a good old Missouri boy, and he has my full support.
Oh, and I guess you agree with him that we women are here to establish enduring values and give birth?
Sounds like a good plan to me. Well, all I know is it was a hell of a lot easier when a man could, for example, come to work and say good morning to somebody without being accused of sexual harassment.
I guess you enjoyed the little story in Rush's book about scuttling.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm talking about page 140 here, where he recounts Helen Gurley Brown's working for a radio station in the 60s and how the men would chase the women around stealing their underpants, also known as scuttling. According to Helen, a good time was had by all. I guess for you and Rush, those really were the good old days.
Well, I don't know anything about scuttling, but I just have to say I don't think you have to worry.
You got that right. Any man who would try to steal my underpants in the workplace would be a dead man.
Listen, I was a paratrooper in Vietnam, okay? Sometimes I would get tangled up in that thing and have to drag it for miles. I'm terrified of your underpants.
Yes, it must be terrible for you now, having those flashbacks every time one of your inflatable dates explodes.
Okay, bosses, well, I guess I'm off.
Off? Where you going?
To California.
Reed wants Lonnie to fly on his jet to Beverly Hills to pick up his golf clubs because he's afraid if he has them shipped, they'll get bent.
I get 1,000 smackers for doing it, too. That is, unless you have some objection.
Well, no, Reed's the #1 stockholder of the newspaper. Like, I'm going to say no.
Thanks, boss. I'll be back in 24 hours. Oh, if my mother calls, just hang up on her. She's all upset about that editorial Georgie wrote about Rush Limbaugh. She says Georgie is just like those damn designing women who are nothing but a big pack of lesbian bull dykes. In fact, she says that's the real reason Suzanne Sugarbaker left that show.
What was that all about? What's going on?
What's going on is you have about 150 messages, you man-hating, left-wing mongering, Clinton-sucking-upping feminazi.
Hey, spare me the fan mail. Give me the hard stuff. Oh, honey, how are you? That cold sounds terrible. Oh, by the way, Billy Bob, I was at the cleaners picking up my formal. Your tux was done, so I brought it, too.
Oh, thanks.
What does he need a tux for?
Because he's the society editor and he's covering the prom on Saturday.
What prom?
The one you and Georgie are attending with me.
I told Billy Bob we'd go with him. Anyway, I want to make sure that Lonnie gets some good pictures. It'll be fun. Come on. Their theme is the 60s.
Well, I don't want to go to any prom. I hated the 60s even when I was in them.
You think I enjoy being the society editor? I only do it because your wife won't.
And I love you for it. Anyway, we're all going. Madeline's going.
Whoa, wait a minute. Why is Madeline going?
Because I'm the consulting psychologist to the high school and the kids invited me.
Well, we're not going as dates. I've already got a date.
Does this really need to be said? As if there were a chance in a billion that I would be seen in public with you. Mr. I'm so desperate to cover up this bald spot, I would even accept hair from a chia pet.
Yes, hello, Daily Beacon. Yes, who may I say is calling? Rush Limbaugh? We were just speaking of you. Hang on just a second. Rush Limbaugh for you?
You're kidding.
No, my sense of humor is more developed than that.
Yeah, this is Georgie and Lottie. I'm fine, Mr. Limbaugh. How are you? Oh, you read my editorial, did you? No, as a matter of fact, I've gotten nothing but positive feedback.
Liar, liar, pants on fire.
You'd like to have lunch with me Saturday and debate me on the radio? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Well, I think that sounds like a good idea. As a matter of fact, I think it could be a beautiful thing.
Now try this. You got a spelling bee. You got Senators Packwood and Kennedy and Dan Quayle. Who wins? No, Quayle, because he's the only one that knows that harass is one word. Right. Bye.
Well, looks like Miss Lottie Dottie's running late. Probably had some big rally to go to, like holding hands for Hillary across America or Save the Sparrows.
Excuse me, Mr. Limbaugh. Would you autograph your book for us?
Certainly.
That's her right now.
What was that?
The woman who wrote that terrible article about you.
Miss Lottie?
That's right.
I'm sorry. I wasn't expecting someone so obviously intelligent.
So I pretty much lived and worked as a reporter all over the world, with a focus on the Middle East, of course, and particularly Beirut. As a matter of fact,
Thank goodness we're on to Beirut. I thought we'd never get out of Cuba. Anyway, who cares? All I can think about is how attracted I am to you. That's right, the kind of attraction where every molecule in my body's just picked up the big red phone and called downstairs, and we're all now on full-scale flag-flying alert, complete with sirens wailing and missiles preparing for launch. Boy, what a patriotic feeling.
and that was when I was forced to take the press secretary job on Capitol Hill, where I proceeded to fall disgustingly madly in love with the man who's now my husband.
Husband? Wait a minute. Code blue. Code blue. Limbaugh, you idiot. You have to fall for the only liberal in the country who isn't just shacked up with somebody.
So we moved back to his hometown, and along with his best friend Billy Bob, we bought this little newspaper. And in addition to Billy's daughter and my husband's 2 sons, we're about to have a baby of our own.
That's it. I'm dead. She's gonna be a mother. And I'm gonna have to go to confession for the rest of my life, and I'm not even Catholic.
That's enough about me. I want to hear about you.
Well, I grew up in a little town not far from here, actually. In fact, I can't believe I never met your husband. What did you say his last name is?
John Hartman?
Like I care. My fondest wish is that he'll die in his sleep tonight and you and I can raise this child together.
Nah, it doesn't ring a bell. I spent a lot of time hanging around the radio station.
I cannot believe that I'm actually attracted to Rush Limbaugh. I mean, of course, I would never act on it, but what is it? He's certainly not my type physically, although he does exude a powerful presence that has a certain masculine appeal. But I hate that smug, chauvinistic cocksureness of his. In fact, it repulses me. You know, the kind of repulsion that could only appeal to a woman at the most basic level, the real underground parking of the human psyche, a place where my elevator, thank goodness, does not stop.
And I wasn't really that popular in high school. I mean, I didn't exactly have a girl on each arm.
Of course, that's it. Why didn't I see it? He's terrified of women. Look at that. That was almost a shy, self-effacing smile. What am I saying? Get a grip. This is Rush Limbaugh we're talking about. It's like being attracted to Richard Nixon.
Well, we better head over to that radio station where we get this done.
Oh, yeah, I guess you're right.
Here, let me help you out.
Oh, thank you. I can't believe I actually like the feel of his big male chauvinist hand on my arm. Really, I need immediate professional help.
Let me help you with this.
Oh, thank you.
I can't believe she's letting me help her with her coat.
You're cold.
No, it's nothing. Just the sound of my elevator hitting bottom.